Hey folks, Lemonade here. And in my last video, we spoke about the best mousepad company on the planet. And today, we got one that's actually a real contender, but not necessarily for artisan. Let's get into not one, not two, not three, but all four of these infinite pads right after this. Small disclaimer folks, InfinityMice did send me these free for review, but that will never change the outcome of any review on the channel. My opinions are my own, and you're seeing this as early as they are. And we're going to knock out these specs real quick. I'll throw them right up here for you folks. Now, while I still think Artisan has a leg up over everyone, including these pads, I do think that InfinityMice is going to be some serious competition for lethal gaming gear. But before all that, let's get some important stuff out of the way. Is the QC good on these? Yes. Is the stitching good? It's phenomenal. Is the base pour on? Kind of. And is the price worth it? Oh, hell yeah. I mean, the QC on my copies have all been spot on. No stitching issues, no loose fibers, no wavy foam, no rips, no awful looking colors or all this kind of beautiful shade of red, no faded logos, nothing. It's just a kind of one-to-one across every single one of them. Slight little difference though, the Vagabond down here has the logo printed into the surface so you cannot feel it, but the other three have the logo printed on top of the surface, like kind of a vinyl texture, so you definitely can feel it if you somehow hit this corner. The stitching itself is again phenomenal below the surface and ultra paper thin, very artisan-like as you can see here, compared with Artisan and some of Lethal Gaming Gear's pads. Now, I said that the base is kind of pour-on because, well, as some of you may know, pour-on is polyurethane foam, and this is also a sort of polyurethane foam. It's just not going to be the same formulation as the brand Rogers, which Artisan uses here. That said, InfinityMice never state that this is pour-on or compared in any way. They actually label this as a custom IPU, so I have really no issue with the way they're marketing this and appreciate their transparency. So what are the differences then? Artisan uses a 4mm base for their soft and their X soft pads, while InfinityMice opted in for a 3.5mm soft. So in essence, it's somewhere between a mid and an Artisan soft, but much closer to a Artisan soft. And it's a touch denser than Lethal Gaming Gear's 3.5mm X soft. You also have, of course, as you saw, this interesting logo pattern on the bottom. I'm not really sure if this serves any purpose. They may give you extra grip or maybe added airflow because they are raised a little bit, but hey, it looks pretty cool. Now, speaking on humidity real quick, I didn't notice any issues with any of these pads, and the base stuck on both of my desks really well. In practice, though, I found that the base was a great middle ground. It's not too soft, not too firm. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this or just won't be bothered by it in any way. I generally prefer a firmer base on pads myself, and so does most of the community from my recent polls. And when we get to price, now this is really a new standard and a big part of why I love what InfinityMice are doing as a brand, and one that I'm going to recommend highly above nearly everyone else. So you get two perfect sizes, the classic 490 by 420 size and a nice big square at 490 by 490, which is what I have here for all the pads. Yeah, it's not 500 by 500, but honestly, it's more desk accommodating in this size while still providing some great vertical room. But the prices are at $35 for that classic size and $40 for these squares. And the limited edition Vagabond here is set for $40 for either size you pick. Like, that is such a good value. You know, when you compare this to Lethal Gaming Gear, their equivalent sizes are $50 or $55. And at least for now, InfinityMice has a broader selection of options in their Pro lineup. Lethal is obviously going to be introducing soft very soon and mid bases to follow up, and including some more surfaces that they have, like the Mercury and the Jupiter. But when we look at InfinityMice's lineup, it just makes a little bit more sense at the moment, which is a good time to talk about the surfaces themselves. And we have speed, hybrid, and control variants, but we're going to start off with the speed. And this is very much a Raiden style surface down to the macro shots as you see, and the feel on hand. It's quick with a low initial and a dynamic friction, and just very smooth with a kind of sports jacket-like feel. This is essentially a Raiden in soft, similar to the recent Lamzu Energon, but it's bigger in sizes and has a better base solution, a cool hot red color, and for essentially the same price or less in some cases. Next, we have the hybrid variant, and this is that classic hybrid texture, very akin, to the Xten by Artisan, Locust, Karai, Lethal Gaming Gear's Venus or Mercury. I'd say it's a touch smoother than Xten, but very close as you can see in these macro shots. Quick note, the Vagabond surface is based obviously on the hybrid surface, but the design here and the printing process does make the surface a bit smoother and much more matted and soft in texture. This does lead it to having a little bit more control than the standard red version, but if you dislike some of the pads I just mentioned because of their texture, the Vagabond might be a better choice over those. Overall though, I do feel like this is a great middle ground between the speed and control versions. It has just enough initial and dynamic friction to keep you locked in without getting in your way. And can we just please for a moment appreciate this design? I mean, they really knocked it out of the park. Easily a top 3 design for this year in my book. And lastly, we have their control version, and I really thought we were going to get another Zero or Saturn style surface, but no, this one is actually pretty unique. I mean, first off, it's incredibly just fun to touch, as weird as it sounds. It's this kind of nice soft felt-like texture. It's mostly smooth, but it has a little bit of texturing to it. I can best describe it as something in between a Vaxi PA and a Zero in terms of feel, but in practice it's a bit slower than the Vaxi PA. It offers more dynamic and static friction, so this may be a love-hate thing for people, but it really makes the lineup complete because it exists. You have a true control pad for those looking for a pro level finish with this style of surface and performance. I also think your experience with this is going to vary depending on your mouse and skates. A Starlight Small with Sapphire skates, it feels so damn good and seamless on this, but the Vaxi XE with its higher weight and larger skate design is going to feel a bit more locked in and muddy. Again, this is all just complete preference at the end of the day. Now, you remember when I mentioned that Lethal Gaming Gear is getting their soft and mid bases? Yeah, well, InfinityMice also confirmed with me that these are in the works for their pads, and seeing the control pad in a mid would just be perfect. And see, this is just why this lineup makes way more sense to me than really anything else out for gamers. As a newer company to mousepads, InfinityMice chose the kind of perfect set of pads to release. You have a true control pad, a good balance in the Vagabond here or the hybrid version, and a true smooth speed pad. There's just clear separation in the friction between them all. They all provide 2 size choices that makes really the most sense, and the pricing from the materials, the stitching, the fit and finish, the custom base, and that custom flat packaging, it really just is unmatched. The Vagabond will be available in the US, EU, Thailand, Australia, Japan, and UK, so local shipping rates should be pretty affordable, with the other 3 pads to come later globally. I guess the only real nitpick or downside I'd have to say is that they only come in red or the Vagabond design for now, but honestly it beats launching another black pad. And when other companies only release one style of pad in one size or maybe just one color, I really prefer that InfinityMice chose to launch it like this. This is a big part of why I love Artisan, giving that clear distinction in surfaces, and now we have that for really the lowest prices yet for, again, this level of fit and finish. Honestly, Lethal Gaming Gear, you gotta watch out. These guys drop some heat. Balls in your court. Bravo, InfinityMice. Bravo. And on that note, folks, all my socials are down below, along with any affiliate links for the brands that I trust and use on a daily basis. Use code LEMONADE for any peripherals to save a few bucks on your purchase, or code UpgradeLemonade to sign up with our new channel partner Surfshark to get an extra 3 months free. If you had a good time with me today, Likes and subs are always appreciated. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on these pads and where do you rank them. But until the next Fresh Screws video, stay thirsty, folks.